All right, today we're cracking open the developer's toolkit for one of the most advanced AI models on the planet, Google's Gemini. We're going to skip past the hype and get right to what matters. What can you actually build with this thing, and how fast can you get your first project up and running?
So let's start with a question that I think pretty much every developer has asked themselves at some point. Man, what if I could just tap directly into Google's best AI for my own project? Well, you know what? That's not a what if anymore. With the Gemini API, it's a how.
So let's just dive right in. The best way to think about the Gemini API isn't as some giant, mysterious, all-knowing AI. It's much simpler. Think of it as a well-organized toolkit made specifically for developers and creators like you to bring your ideas to life. At its heart, the API is really just the bridge that connects your app to Google's most powerful models. It's how your code actually talks to Gemini, letting you send it stuff and get smart, structured answers back. Now, here's something that's absolutely crucial to get. The API doesn't just plug you into one generic AI. It gives you access to a whole family of specialized models, and each one is an expert in its own field. And you guessed it, choosing the right tool for the job is your first big step. The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to imagine you're hiring a team for a project, right? You wouldn't ask your data scientist to go design a logo, and you wouldn't ask your video editor to go analyze some complex legal document. You need specialists. And that's exactly what the Gemini API gives you. So on your team, you've got Gemini 2.5 Pro. That's your powerhouse, your deep thinker for really complex reasoning. Then there's 2.5 Flash, which is your super agile all-rounder. It's built for speed, efficiency, and it can handle a massive amount of info. And for all your visual storytelling needs, you've got Veo 3.1, a state-of-the-art model for creating incredible, high-quality video. Each one is tuned for a very specific job. Okay, so you've met the experts. Now for the fun part. What can you actually build with them? Let's break down the core things these models can do. The range is just huge. I mean, you have the basics, like text generation and understanding what's in images, video, and audio, but you can also tell it to give you structured data back, which is a lifesaver for clean app integration. And maybe the most powerful thing of all is function calling, where you can get the model to interact with other tools and APIs. These are literally the building blocks for whatever you dream up next. Let's zoom in on one of my personal favorite features, because it's a perfect example of just how powerful this API is. We're talking about creating images directly without needing a separate tool or anything. And get this, the internal code name for the model that does this is Nano Banana. No, I'm not kidding. It's a fun little peek behind the curtain that just goes to show even the most advanced tech can have a great sense of humor. So what does our buddy Nano Banana actually do? Well, it lets you generate and edit images with incredible precision and context. You can ask it to create an image based on a really detailed description, and it just gets the little details. This is an absolute game changer for creative apps. Now, beyond those core abilities, the Gemini API has some serious power-ups. These are the advanced features that let you tackle problems so complex they felt like science fiction just a couple of years ago. First up, this number, 1 million. It's not users, it's not dollars, it's a measure of the model's memory. This is what we call the 1 million token context window. And a token is basically a word or part of a word. This massive window lets a model like GP2.5 Flash hold the equivalent of a 1,500-page book or hours of video in its working memory all at once. It can reason about the entire thing without forgetting what happened way back at the beginning. Just think about that. Next power-up, structured output. Anyone who's ever had to write code to deal with messy text from an API knows the pain. Gemini lets you force the output into a nice, clean JSON format. This one simple feature saves so many hours of data cleaning and makes plugging the AI's response into your application incredibly reliable. Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? But how hard is it to actually use? You might be surprised. Let's walk through what it takes to get your hands dirty and make your very first request. It really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you get your API key from Google AI Studio. That's basically your personal password. Second, you pick your favorite programming language. And third, you write just a tiny bit of code to send your first question to the model. That's it, you're in. And here's a little Python example. Hey, even if you don't code in Python, you can see how simple it is. You just import the library, you tell it which model you want, in this case, our speedy friend 2.5 Flash, and then you just pass in your question. That is all it takes to get a smart response back that you can use in your app. So as we wrap up, let's just circle back to where we started. The Gemini API isn't some far-off, complicated technology. It's a real, powerful, and honestly surprisingly friendly toolkit that is just waiting for you to build something cool with it right now. From deep analysis with Pro, to lightning-fast tasks with Flash, to making incredible visuals with VO, and Nano Banana, the building blocks are all here. They're in your hands. So the only real question left is, what are you going to create first?